Check the description for the following discount codes. Well, I've just pressed the record button and it started absolutely smashing it down with rain here. So hopefully you won't be able to hear too much of the rain because I'm upstairs and the skylight's like directly above me. I guess if this video's out, it can't have been that loud because I wouldn't have produced it. So we'll carry on assuming it's going to be all right. Anyway, in the last week or two, some of you may have seen my video where I showed you how I fixed the misshifting problem I had with this Fanatec shifter, whereby you put it into first or third or something and it would jump into the next gear along, either one up or one down. So you go into first, it would go into reverse, you go into third, it would go into first, and the same with the gears along the bottom, second, fourth and sixth. If you go into fourth, it would go into second. It's a common problem. Loads of people have it with these shifters. But I thought, as I'm dicking about with this shifter, I may as well do a review because I haven't ever done one. And I've had it for about 3 years maybe, so good time to do a review, I suppose. I can sort of tell you how it's held up, what wear and tear I've got, if any, and what issues I've had, as like the one I just mentioned. So aside from that issue where it misshifts, I've not had any problems with this at all. And to be honest, I absolutely love it as an H-pattern shifter. The build quality is great. It's 100% metal. It weighs just over 3 kilos. So, you know, there's some heft to it. And the reason it's heavy is because it's all metal construction. I'll just give you a little close up of what you can see. It's not the prettiest thing, I would say. The shape, the sort of general boxiness could probably be a bit, I don't know, could look a bit nicer, but that's only going to be personal taste anyway. You can see your different gears on the top there, the Fanatec logo, and I currently have this round knob attached for H-pattern shifting. There is this one as well, and they're not H-pattern specific knobs, you can use whatever knob you want, but typically you would use this more of a sequential shift scenario and the rounder one for H-pattern, but it comes with both of them. And I quite like the sort of, it's like, what is it, a grey? I mean, I'm colourblind, could be a bloody green for all I know. To me it does look green. Is it green, is it grey? Let me know in the comments. I quite like whatever colour it might be, it's quite nice. It also comes with a USB adapter so you can run it standalone. You don't have to plug it into a Fanatec wheelbase. Or if you're having problems with misshifts and electrical noise, you can try going USB direct. But again, watch my previous video about that. So what else does it come with? It comes with an Rj12 cable that's still attached to my rig. I couldn't be asked to take it off. It's just a piece of wire. I'm sure you all know what an Rj12 cable looks like. In fact, it's not an Rj12 cable, it's a cable with an Rj12 plug on each end. So yeah, which will plug into there, and that will then plug into your compatible Fanatec wheelbase, or into there. So yeah, that's your two sort of plugging it in type options, and there's your two shift knob type options. As I say, it's heavy, it's all metal, it feels great. It's not gained any squeaks or creaks or any play or any wobbles in anything since I've had it. You know, the shifting is all still very tight and very precise. Now you can adjust how tight or heavy perhaps it feels to shift by winding in or out this screw. You still won't see the hole there, hopefully. The only drawback to this mechanism is I like it quite solid, so a fair bit of force is required to shift. If you then flick over to sequential by sliding, you can just slide one of these. So you got 8 for your 8-speed manual, including with 7 forward gears and 1 reverse, and then your sequential there. It says the same on the other side. You can just slide it from one side, and it does work, but it is easier to do it with both fingers. Just literally just feels a bit easier. It still works just the same. But when you put it in sequential mode, where I've got that tension screw set, it's now, in my opinion, a bit too stiff for a sequential setup. I'd like it lighter. So whilst you can flick easily between H pattern and sequential mode, I would now need to adjust the tension screw to get the sequential tension where I'd want it to be. Or you either have to set your sequential tension to where you want that to be. So, I mean, it's not too hard, but you're really going to be giving it a good whack, you know, to change gear. So you could either set that to where you want it to be, and then your H pattern tension will be a little bit lighter perhaps than what you'd like. This is obviously my own personal choice. You guys might like it really light anyway. Yeah, because you can't adjust that. You can't sort of set the tension for one and tension for the other. It affects both. But that's a minor gripe. Speaking of other minor gripes, both the reverse and the 7th gear are push down to select. So you don't just sort of move across. Oh, we're in sequential mode. Let's put that back. Yeah, you don't just move it across and up like you would into first. You have to depress the stick, then go across, then go up. Now, for reverse, that's absolutely fine. And it's actually denoted on here. I don't know whether it will focus or not, but yeah, reverse has 2 little dashes, 7th has 2 little dashes, and 1, 3, and 5 do not. That just denotes that you need to depress it before moving it. Now for reverse, that's absolutely fine, because if you're ever in a situation in a sim or a racing game where you need to reverse, you're probably already wasting time and you shouldn't really ever need to. 7th, on the other hand, and this is actually quite funny, where's the Fanatec website? 7th is a gear that you might actually use quite regularly depending what car you're in. Now, it says on the Fanatec website, H pattern with locked reverse and 7th gear. Pressing down the shifter in order to shift into 7th gear or reverse keeps you from shifting incorrectly and makes you go faster. Yeah. Now, it doesn't make you go faster because it makes changing into 7th slow. When we change gear from 1st to 3rd to 5th, or 2nd to 4th to 6th, or any of the other combinations of gears we might do, very rarely, I imagine, do any of us accidentally go into the wrong gear. If I'm going from 2nd up into 3rd, I've never once ended up in 5th, nor have I ever ended up in 1st, apart from when the shifter wasn't working properly. So the chances of me going all the way across and ending up in 7th when I was trying to go into 3rd or 5th is basically none. At least this is my opinion. Maybe you guys think differently. So for me, I can't use 7th gear. It's pointless that it's even there, because in the few cars that have 7-speed boxes, it'd be great to use it, but I'm not naturally inclined, if I'm in 5th, to go into, or 6th, sorry, to go into 7th, you need to depress the stick and then come up and across and then up again, and it just doesn't feel in any way natural. I don't know, yeah, I just wouldn't, it just doesn't feel natural. So you pause, or at least I do, and think, right, how do I go into 7th? Oh yeah, move down, up. It's just not a natural thing for me to do. I've never come across a car in real life that has a push down 7th gear. That doesn't mean to say there aren't any. I just mean, in my experience, I haven't ever come across one. Maybe there are, and if you're used to that, you're used to it. And with this, you would get used to it. It's just one extra motion that you have to do before you go up into 7th. But I just never get used to it because I'm not in cars with 7-speed gearboxes often enough. So that to me didn't need to be done. I think they could have left 7th without having to depress the stick first, the same as the other 6 gears, and just have reverse so that you have to push down and go into it, because if you ever go into reverse, time isn't too much of an issue because you're already going the wrong direction. Other than that, I love the way it changes gear. Compared to the Thrustmaster TH8A, this feels so much more solid. I'm going to compare it sort of realistic. Does it feel realistic? I mean, not really, no. But then, apart from your really high-end shifters, they don't feel realistic, because I can't remember how this one works inside, but most of them have like a ball and spring scenario where the little ball bearing pushes into a hole and is held there by a spring, and it's that spring tension that you adjust on the adjuster screw. And then it pops out of its hole, slides along, and pops into the next one, and that's your selector. That isn't even close to how a car synchro mesh works. So it doesn't feel realistic, but it does feel good, and plenty good enough compared to, as I say, the TH8A from Thrustmaster, and of course the Logitech shifter that really does just feel like a plasticky toy. The TH8A is a decent shifter. I mean, I was about to say for the money. I think all sim racing equipment is overpriced in my opinion, but it is what it is. This is 250 quid, I believe. Oh, that's a good point actually. So Digital Motorsports, where I bought my, excuse me, Fanatec DD1 from, they have these in stock. They're about £240, I believe. There is a link in the description to there. There will also be, oh, I don't know, no, there probably won't be. I was going to say there'll be eBay and Amazon links, but the only two I found one for sale on eBay, and that's £550, and one for sale on Amazon, and that's £600. So some joker is out there trying to rob people. So don't go on Amazon or eBay to buy one. If you want to buy one and you're in Europe, I recommend Digital Motorsports because they're really good service for me. My experience has been great, and some of you guys have bought stuff from them as well. And their prices are very reasonable. So there's a link to those in the description. Don't pay double the money on eBay or Amazon. It's just a joke. No need to do it. And obviously, if you're outside of Europe and you can buy from Fanatec Direct, obviously do that as well. But yeah, about 240, 250 notes of what you should be paying. And yeah, the Thrustmaster one is, I actually got this second hand for 150 quid. So that was a right bargain from one of the sim racing groups. Yeah, the Thrustmaster one is 150, 160, something like that. And then the Logitech one, I can't actually remember how much that is, but you would never choose to buy a Logitech one on its own anyway, unless you've already got a Logitech steering wheel. But if you're looking at standalone shifters that aren't stupid money, then this really is the best of the bunch. The Thrustmaster does feel noticeably lesser quality, and it just doesn't shift quite as nicely in my opinion. But it's £100 cheaper, so you have to remember price points with everything. But yes, I love the way it shifts, the weight, the build quality. I like the look and colour of these knobs, whatever colour they might actually be. I don't like the way you have to shift into 7th. I don't like that the sort of pre-tension adjuster is a global adjustment. It'd be nice to have them individual, but obviously that's just the way it's made. It can't be done easily. And then, you know, 3 years on, the only issues I have had is this issue with misshifting, and that was cured by a strip down and a clean. As I said, I did a video on that a week or two ago, so feel free to check that out if you're having these sort of issues. But otherwise, I think that's probably the end of the review. We spoke about its build quality, its looks, its interchangeable knobs. We spoke about the connectivity, the way it changes gear and the way the different gears change. Spoke about the pre-tension, how you shift from sequential to 8-speed manual. It bolts down using 4 M6 screws on the bottom, much like a lot of sim racing stuff does. And yeah, it's about 240, 250 pounds. So that's my review of the Fanatec SQ 1.5 shifter. I do recommend it if your budget allows for it, and if you're not going to be spending £800 to £1,500 on some of the other more expensive options out there. I would never upgrade this by choice. The only time this will ever be upgraded is if someone sends me a shifter for free that I get to keep that's better, then I'll probably, you know, keep whatever that is because it's better. But otherwise I would never spend the money to upgrade over this, for me personally, because it does everything I need it to, and the price point isn't stupid. And if, like me, you manage to find one second hand for 150 quid, then even better. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.